Hey guys, this is Dan with Gears and Gadgets. Thanks for tuning in. Today we are going to be talking about the Z-Flash LCM light flasher. Is it worth it? And is it even legal? This video is not sponsored by anything other than my enjoyment of tinkering with my trucks. This Z-Flash unit was sent out to me so I could play with it on the channel here. I'll link it in the description down below. It's not any sort of affiliate links or anything. It's just straight to the manufacturer's website, and whether you buy it or not, it doesn't matter. Doesn't impact me one way or the other, but it is something that I thought was pretty neat and worthwhile sharing on the channel. Now, I had a 2015 GMC Sierra, and previously I tested on this channel a full-size light bar, installed that, ran it down the highway, did some MPG tests, just kind of had fun with it. This is a much better solution. So before we get into the features and how this thing works, let's talk about how you install it. There's really not a whole lot to it. There's the module and the wiring. This little device allows you to activate your truck's external lights and turn them into powerful strobes. All plug and play. It plugs into the factory light control module, uses your factory lights. There's no extra wiring needed. Now, the only real critique that I have about this module is that it does not flash the side mirror lights. It would be nice if these were to light up for side visibility, you know, if you're parked on the side of the road and have those going. That does not, but the side markers do on the front and the rear, so you do have some side visibility with that as well. Now let's walk through the install of this Z-Flash module, and I'm laughing because honestly it was so easy. It was maybe took me a half an hour tops to put this thing together. That included filming, pretty straightforward. Now the first instruction was pretty interesting. They tell you to leave the truck off and open the door and let it sit for 5 minutes. I'm assuming that that shuts down the LCM. They don't tell you to disconnect the battery. I'm guessing that that's part of what that procedure is. And then step number 2 is just locating the LCM. It's actually tucked up underneath the driver's side footwell on the left leg side, so on the left-hand side. Tucked up right next to the BCM. There's 2 different modules that are sitting right next to each other, and you just have to find that right connector. So all you do is disconnect that violet plug and then connect the harness that they provide you with. Everything only goes together in one way, so you really can't screw it up. Connect that T harness in, then you'll connect the 22-pin connector, tie up all your wiring, kind of get everything buttoned up in there and tucked away so you're not having any issues with it in the future. It's pretty easy to tuck that up in there as well. Now, before you button it all up, there is some configurability you can do with your truck where you go in and configure the dip switches how you want. For instance, I turned my high beam flashers off. I didn't want those on if I was actually using them on the road. You can leave those on or off should you choose. You can also run the switch that they provide. I ran that switch down up underneath where the rest of the switch bank is in the truck, and I've got it kind of tucked up underneath the hazard switch. Makes sense to me. Down for hazards, reach up underneath there, hold the button for 3 seconds. And because there is a 3-second hold on that button, there really is no risk of having it turned on inadvertently by just tossing something down in there either, which is really nice. Now, if you choose not to run that switch, you can actually just activate them with the high beam lever, pulling that for 3 seconds, and then it'll actually activate the hazards as well. So that is the Z-Flash installation. It is super straightforward. Now there's still one more really cool feature I want to show you guys. Before we do that, let's jump to the flash patterns. I'll show you there are 3 distinct separate flash patterns. This is just in no particular order. This would be flash pattern 1. Here you have flash pattern 2. And this is flash pattern 3. Now, a lot of people drop comments on these kinds of videos and say, well, what about brake lights, tail lights, all that kind of stuff? How does that operate? With this unit, your turn signals do operate just fine as turn signals. When you hit the turn signals, it deactivates. When you hit your brakes, the same thing. It'll actually override and go to brakes. And the same for the reverse lights. When you go into reverse, it'll send those to solid as well. So all of your rear lights still work the way they need to if you are happening to be using these legally on the road. So the last feature that I'll show you, which is pretty cool, is the fact that you can use your key fob here. If you just go lock, unlock, lock, unlock, it'll activate those flashers. And what's nice about that is also the way you would activate them if you wanted to do this while your car was off. You could walk away, do that key lock procedure, and then also if you want to stop it, the same thing, lock, unlock, and they will turn off. and that is how you activate that. So pretty nice feature to be able to activate these things wirelessly from your key fob, turning them on and off. So let's get to the conversation about what these things are used for. Having light flashers on your truck in and of itself is nothing more than just an enhanced safety feature. Don't do anything dumb. Check with your local laws, because there are different laws for different cities and states. There's a lot of different variations in that, so I'm not, of course, going to go through that all on this video, but check your local laws with these kinds of things, and as long as you're complying and you're not being an idiot, you're not going to be getting yourself in trouble. Let's talk about where you actually might utilize something like this, the way that I utilize it. I just announced on this channel I launched As Built Media, where I'm going to be doing photography, videography, drone stuff on the construction side of things. And that is why I've had these kinds of lights for actually several years on all of my trucks, is because I spent 20 years as a construction project manager, and this kind of light setup is really ideal. I don't deal with a lot of snow here in Phoenix, but I did grow up in Buffalo, New York, so I used to like having lights like this for those kinds of things. Also, when I'm out flying the drone, there's a lot of people who are really, say, anti or sketched out by drones. If they see them, they get worried. I actually like having flashers on my truck for those reasons, because when you set up and you start launching drones, it's kind of just one more component of being there in like an official capacity versus just being somebody who's out there causing trouble. It's also nice to have, if you're on the side of the road doing some sort of assistance for somebody, to have something like this that draws a little more attention than just having your regular hazards on. I like them, but again, if you get something like this, make sure that you're paying attention to your laws and regulations. And before we wrap here, I'll show you what happens on the dash when you activate this. So I'll hold the button down for 3 seconds, and you'll see when it starts going, your hazards actually just flip on and then stay steady. So now you know that that module is active and that it's not just your regular hazards. Now, occasionally, it will also trip the rear view camera. Some of the flash patterns seem to impact this different than others. So I'll switch to another flash pattern. And there you can see the camera weirdness kind of went away, but they are still active. You can see they're still strobing there. And with those hazards on, you can see that that is what it looks like inside the truck. So that is the Z-Flash module. I thought it would be something interesting, worth sharing on the channel. So thank you guys very much for tuning in. I actually have some more truck content coming up very shortly. I'm editing through the suspension lift kit, some other really cool things coming. So with that being said, thank you guys very much for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, please hit that subscribe button down below. Remember, likes go a long way to help support the channel. And I will see you guys next time.